Good evening, class. It's pretty late today. It's around 10:30 at night on Monday. I just wanted to touch base with you. I know that I will have to. I wanted to at least get some, some teaching done, and then I will follow up later on with as the week progresses. So the first thing that I'm going to tell you is I was able to look at your speech analysis. So I looked at each and every one, every video recordings that you posted on Go React. So I was able to look at it. Uh, I would have ideally liked to comment today, kind of give you a whole summary of comments and give you your grade, and also provide you a summary of how I analyzed it and what I heard from your responses. So please please know that I will be doing that. I was able to scan through all your video recordings of your speech analysis, and I haven't given you a grade. I was able to go through your video recordings. So this is what I plan to do. Tomorrow, I would like to give you my individual feedback. So once you go to Go React, you should be able to pull up, just go to your video, and then you'll see my comments. So I would like to do it with you one-on-one. And but when you look at your comments tomorrow, what you'll see is that only you will be able to see my comments, nobody else. So I'm going to make that whole speech analysis private, so that only you are able to see my comments and nobody else is. So and then what I will do after I give you my individual comment to your video recording, and I give you a grade, and I give you my feedback on it, I will also provide you a summary analysis of how I saw it. Okay. So so those are the things that I still need to do. I have been able to review it, but I haven't been able to individually go to your video recordings and give you a response and give you a grade. So I haven't done that. I should be able to do that tomorrow, but I didn't want to waste any time today. And I would like to get a jump start on this week's activities, because one of the biggest things that you will have to you need to know for this week is that you will be doing your first speech. All right. So by Sunday, you will have to post your profile speech. All right. So today, in today's segment, I won't take a whole lot of time, because I know that long videos are not one of it's not very attractive for students to go through very long videos. So I don't want to make it very long. So what I'll do is I'm just going to give you the highlights of what you need to know, and you will have to do your own research. You will have to do you have to do your own speech writing. I will give you my guidelines and I will talk to you about it. But then you will have to write your own speech, and there are a few things that I would like you to do. So I'm just going to, without wasting any more time, I would like to just jump start on that one. So I'm going to screen share and show you what's coming for this week. So here we go. Give me a second here, class. All right, this is our Blackboard, and just trying to get into your class here. Yeah, so I'm here. I'm going to do a screen share here with you. So this is our class, and if you go to your syllabus here, you will see, I'm just clicked the syllabus and the syllabus just appeared. And 1 second, I'm just I'm sorry, 1 second here, class one. Yeah, so I just want to share this. All right, so here you see this is our syllabus, and this week I'm straight away getting into your schedule here. This is today's October 25th, And these are the chapters from your online book that we will be covering, which is chapter 3, 4, 13, and 14. Okay, so again, go to your online book, which is this one here, right here. So chapter 3, 4, 13, and 14 are the chapters that we are going to be covering. All right. And based on not only are we going to be talking about these chapters, we are also going to talk about these chapters keeping one speech in view, which is your profile speech. Okay, so whatever I discuss about research, organizing your speech, outlining your speech, supporting your speech, introduction and conclusion, I will always be referring to your upcoming speech, which is your profile speech. Okay, so I'm going to give you all the details that you need to know, that you need to have for your upcoming speech, which is your profile speech. So here, remember, your profile speech will be due by 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. All right, so that's the day when your profile speech is due. I again repeat, it is due by 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, which is October 31st. Is that the day for Halloween? Yes, I think it is. So you may want to, if you're planning to go trick-or-treating, or if you or you know, if you, I don't know, you may be having a Halloween party, you never know. So if you are planning, then you may want to submit your work one day ahead of time. All right, so yeah, so that's what the plan is. I will now talk to you about your profile speech. I'm going to first talk to you about what the assignment is all about, and then we are going to take, talk about research, organizing speech, or outlining your speech, supporting your speech, introduction and conclusion. Okay, so we're going to do all of that. So first, let us talk about profile speech details. Okay, so let me stop sharing this one and let me go to Blackboard. And here we go to Blackboard. All right. And I'm going to again share screen with you. As you see, I went to Blackboard and I clicked on PowerPoint instructor, and what is there is week 1, which you've covered. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to put in profile speech, which is, I'm going to add file and browse local files here. And I know where profile speech is. 1 second here, this is just bothering me. Okay, all right. So here we go. Profile speech is right here. All right, here. There you go. So I click this one and I open and I submit. So you can see, all right, I'm going to have to type a name. So profile speech, this is all that, not all that you have to know for the speech, but this is the most crucial one. All right, so I'm going to click submit. And once I click submit, you can see it's right here. You can't miss it. It's in PowerPoint. We go to PowerPoint, PowerPoint instructor, and then you see this one is already done. This was for week 1, and this one, this week you will be doing your profile speech. So all the details for profile speech is right here. So let me click this one, and once I click, this one appears, and great. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, class, as I mentioned to you, I'm going to maybe stop sharing this and then just talk about it, and then I'll take you to the slides. Okay. So this is what I will be telling you. Actually, you know what? Let me 1 second, class. Let's see whether this one works better or not. Yeah, I think. Yep. Yeah, I think maybe this one. Okay. So actually, you know what? Let me just, because it's just my image is becoming so small. So anyways, I'll first talk to you, and then maybe then I'll show you the slides. Okay. So this is the first speech that you will be preparing for, and it's called profile speech. The profile, when you hear the word profile, what comes to your mind? Yeah, I'm sure some of you may have heard about, what's your profile picture, profile summary, something that talks about yourself, right? So this is exactly what you will be doing. You will be talking about yourself in this speech. All you have for this speech and for all the other speeches that you are going to do, all you have is 5 minutes, okay? And within these 5 minutes, you will have to tell us a story about yourself. So in this speech, as we've talked about, the kind of logos or the kind of logic that you will be using is storytelling. And especially for this one, it is all about storytelling, okay? You're going to tell us a story about yourself, all right? So what is it that, you might say that, okay, I have so many things to talk about. What do you want me to talk about? So of course, I'll narrow it down and I'll help you to do that. So there are three themes, okay? There are three themes that you can choose from. So again, you need to choose out of those three themes, you just need to choose one theme. All right. So the three themes are, you can either talk about silence or disguise or resilience. All right. So let's talk about the first one. Okay, so when I'm saying or, so you don't have to do all the three. You just need to pick one out of the three. All right. So let's talk about the first one, silence. So you can talk about a time when if you think that you were ever silenced, okay, and you wanted to say something and somebody shushed you, or did not, you were scared and you were intimidated and you did not get to voice what you really felt like. There could have been any opportunity, any situation in your life where you may have felt silenced. And if you were, we would like to hear that story. When and how and why, and what did that make you feel? And, how does it shape you today? A story when you felt silence. But it doesn't have to be something, you are the owner of the story. So you can choose what tone you want it to have. So if you want to make it, serious, if with a message, you can make it, it's your choice. If you want to make it funny, like I had a student who talked about his aunt, inviting him for, he's from Middle East, and I think I can't remember the name of the, it's almost like a Middle Eastern version of Thanksgiving that they have. And there's this, a signature dish that everybody knows in their culture that his aunt makes, but his aunt makes it her way. And it's not the most appealing in terms of taste. And my student, Amir, that's his name. And Amir told us, all of us in class, that he always, whenever he's invited for this occasion, he knows that his aunt is going to make her signature dish, and he has to keep silent, and he has to pretend as if he's enjoying. And so what he does is he actually tries to eat at home a little bit so that he doesn't have to finish that, because she's pretty particular. If he doesn't take at least 4 or 5 bites, she gets offended. So all of that was so funny, the way he talked about it. So, it could be silence that way also, when you didn't want to offend somebody, and it was actually funny. Think about the time when you felt, silenced. It could be, and the tone that you want to choose. You could choose a funny tone. You could choose a serious or, somber tone. That's up to you. So that's one theme, silence. The second theme is disguise. So you can think about a time when you had to pretend to be somebody who you were not. All right. So let's say you tried to pretend to be a very sensitive person and to impress somebody, all right? And when you were not sensitive, or you tried to take this ballet class and you were not into ballet at all, you wanted to do something totally different, and you had to do this to make your dad happy or make your mom happy, right? So you took on a different role, or something, something different that wasn't you, to make somebody else happy. So that could be a mental disguise, right, that you took. It could also be a physical disguise. You dressed up as somebody, and you had a great time, or uh, or you didn't have a good time, right? So I had a student who talked about, disguise. Of course, mental disguise is so many, I've heard that so many times, where students tell me that how many times that they had to, be something that they were not, just to make somebody happy. Some students told me that they had to learn to become a, engineering major, because their dad wanted, and but they're always into, their heart was always in liberal arts. I've heard these stories. And then I had another student who talked about a physical disguise. He went to North Central, and he said the first year, when he stayed at the dorm, there was a challenge that they were doing where he had to actually dress up as someone else. And the challenge was that even his roommate could not be able to recognize him. And he did that for 3 days in a row. So that was a physical disguise that he did. And that's the second theme. And the third theme is resilience. That's when you really push yourself hard to achieve something. Now you can tell me that, I really worked hard to ace this math class that I never really thought I could even pass. Or I took up, I really didn't see any scholarship, any sports scholarship for me. And how I really worked hard to get that. Okay, so it doesn't always have to end up in a happy story where you get something out of the hard work that you're doing. You can always tell me that, well, I just crashed and burned, and I really worked hard, but I didn't get me anything. But you know what, it was a worthwhile experience because I learned so many things about myself. So you can also tell me a story where, you either you really worked hard for something and either you achieved it or you didn't, but you learned something out of it. Okay, so those are the three themes. I'm just going to show you the slide right now, and then kind of that describes it even further. I did talk to you about all of this. Disguise, I told you about silence, and I told you about resilience. So this is all there in the slide, and you've got to choose, okay? Whichever theme you want to talk about, you need to choose. So this is how I want you to think about it. This is your story slam. Think about this as a story slam, and you have about, it's a 5-minute speech, and typically we are able to, an average speaker is able to speak about 100 words per minute. So you at least need to have 500 words, okay, in your outline, and write down the story, or I need to know, not only me, of course, I mean the audience, me, all of us, okay, we need to know a part of your life. Okay, we will need to know maybe a part of you through the disguise that you've taken in your life, or the time that you went silent, or the time when you really pushed yourself to get something. So that's how we'll get to know a part of your life. Okay, and through that part of your life, we'll get to know a part of you. All right, so this is your profile speech, and you got to choose any of these themes to show you who you are. All right, so so this is how I would be thinking about it. I would first thing is I would choose a theme that I feel that I would be able to do most justice to, and then I would just start writing. I would just start writing the speech, and this is my kind of guideline towards this. So the kind of person I am, the way I write a story is the first thing I do is I just write. My first draft is I just don't think, it's like a stream of consciousness. Whatever comes to my mind, I keep typing, okay, till I stop. In the second draft, what I do, I try to see, I try to look for the purpose. Like if I know that I'm going to talk about, let's say I choose disguise, does disguise really come through in my first draft? I try to see whether my purpose was met. Okay, and if it hasn't been met, then maybe I'll add a part, I'll take out another part, I'll make some corrections, delete, add, and that's my second draft. And my third draft, that's where I kind of make it look pretty, beautiful. I know that I've already met my purpose. Now I look at my introduction and I see whether my introduction, I have, I don't like to start with the topic. Just, this is my speech. This is about, I'm going to talk to you about how I was silent, how people made me silent, or I'm going to talk to you about a time when I really pushed myself hard. I don't like to begin a speech this when I would hope that you wouldn't do that in the introduction. And that's when we are actually coming to how do you write introduction, how do you write a conclusion. Yeah, I'm actually getting to your book chapters. You'll see in an introduction, you'll always want to get the attention of the audience, okay? And you really don't give all the details in the first introduction. What you do is you kind of give enough to kind of vet the appetite. It's almost like a trailer. All right, you kind of entice the audience to come and hear your speech. So you can start with maybe a hypothetical or an imaginary short little story where you talk to the audience about a similar situation that they may have faced in life. It depends upon, the kind of story that small little story that you create in your introduction should be able to invite the audience into the mood that you want them to have, into giving just the amount of little details that you want them to have, not the whole thing, because to get the whole thing, they need to stay back and they need to hear your whole 5-minute speech. The first couple of minutes is just for them to get into the mood of your speech. You may have a lot of rhetorical questions. Rhetorical questions are those questions which kind of makes an audience think about the topic that you're going to talk about, yet it doesn't it doesn't really ask for a response, but it is a question which it's a thinking question, which you'd use it in an introduction so that you can set the ball rolling. You can ask the audience to imagine a situation. Okay, so there's several things that you can do. You can have a small little story in the beginning followed by a couple of rhetorical questions, and powerful enough for the audience to kind of wait till you get into your body. Okay, give them enough interest, stimulate enough interest in them to make them sit down and listen to your speech. Okay, so that's what I would do in my third draft. I would look at my introduction, see whether I've done the right things for, have a small little anecdote, have a few rhetorical questions just to get them to listen to me. Okay, then I would like to see, whether I have some metaphors. I have some, words which are strongly laden with hidden meaning. That and with hidden, if it's hidden meaning, it's not, I'm not explicitly giving the audience the meaning for the word, right? And it's kind of a hidden meaning there. And what happens through hidden meanings, the power for metaphor, that's what we say, how powerful your metaphors are, that makes the audience imaginatively kind of also get into your speech and work with you, because the audience also wants to interpret the word that you are saying. It's kind of makes them get actively into your thinking process. And they also try to also reconstruct and construct the speech with you. Okay, so whether you have a metaphor, how many beautiful metaphors you have in the speech, kind of the words that you've chosen, do they provide an image in the minds of the audience, your language choice. All right, what kind of language, what kind of words have you chosen that kind of creates a language that creates images in the minds of the audience, creates a sense of sound in the mind of the audience, creates a sense of smell in the mind of the audience. So kind of, and it depends upon the speech that you are giving. So your choice, your word choice should kind of make it easy for the audience to imagine. Remember, this is an audience who's listening to you, who's not reading your speech, who's listening to you. So you have to put words that will just kind of makes them imagine. All right. So those are certain things that I would like to do on my third draft, to look at my words, to see whether I've used the right words or not, to see whether I've used some metaphors in my speech. And then when I'm telling a story, usually, and again, this depends, absolutely depends upon you. But I usually, when I tell a story, I usually have some characters, I keep myself as the protagonist. And then I have, maybe somebody who's not, who is kind of, not in the same page as I am, and I'm struggling with him or her. And that person becomes, that person or people, or a few people in my story becomes an antagonist. And then maybe I have a compare, with some people have done, they've talked about how their identity was kind of submerged because of their sibling. They talked about sibling rivalry in some of their stories. And I always felt that when they talked about that certain sibling, it kind of emerged as a foil, all right, a compare contrast. That character just emerged, and it kind of only through that particular character, it could be a brother, it could be a sister, it could be a friend, the audience was able to kind of compare contrast the main character, the protagonist, with some other characters, and do a compare contrast. So it depends. I usually have climax, have some events which leads to a climax, and there is a resolution. That's how I do a story. Okay. And then in the conclusion, it's always in a 5-minute speech. I really don't try to summarize the speech in a conclusion. I don't do that because it's the time span of the speech is too short. So what I do is I try to leave the audience with an insight that I've gained. Okay, something which is different than the way I started the speech. And in the end, there is some kind of recognition. There's some kind of knowledge that I've gained, a new knowledge that I've gained, and I share that insight. And I usually try to end it with a nice phrase of some word choice that kind of makes it memorable for the audience. All right. So these are certain things that you can do to kind of make your speech look beautiful. So again, I repeat, if you can also just go back in my video and see that I've told you that in the first draft, I just write down my thoughts. In the second draft, I look for the purpose. And in the third draft, I make it beautiful through my word choice, through my introduction, looking at smaller stories that kind of attracts the audience, rhetorical questions, metaphors, word choice, phrases, all of that. Okay. So what I'll do, class, I will now, I just kind of gave you a small description of how an introduction and conclusion is done. And again, I'm just, I'm kind of specializing this particular, my particular lecture only for the profile speech. Of course, when I talk to you about, different other speeches, my introduction and my conclusion, all that is going to be slightly different, of course, because I'm catering it to the kind of speech that you will be doing. All right. So what I'll do is I will play a speech. And I don't want you to think about it as, you don't need to emulate the speech, because your speech is going to be your creation. Okay. And it's going to be, you'll be the author of it. So I don't really want you to think about this speech as like, okay, I'm showing you a model speech, this is the way you need to do it. No, not at all. I just did it because I felt that the theme is also interesting here, and I would like to discuss it with you, and I want to show the speech to you. All right. So I have some questions that I would like you to address those questions. And again, I'm going to show that speech to you, but this is what I'm going to tell you is without, you guys don't have too much time. It's a whole semester is condensed into 8 weeks. So I would like you to, by Wednesday, I would like you to give me the draft of your speech. Okay, the first draft of your speech. I would say actually the first and the second draft of your speech, that needs to be done by Wednesday. And I'm going to create a place for you on GoReact where you can actually give me a dry run of the speech, and then we can work on I mean, what I would do is, give it your best shot, try to get, as, try to make the speech as close to to what you would like to do, as close to a final draft as possible. But then I will consider that as a work in progress. And I will give you my comments. Okay. So if you submit it to me by Wednesday night, I will try to give you my comments by Thursday, so that you guys are able to work on your on my feedback, and ultimately submit the final version of your speech on Sunday night. Okay. So that's what I want you to focus on. And I'm also going to ask you some questions. I would like you to watch one speech at least. And it's a speech by Martha Clooney. That's her name. And I would like, it's in a beautiful profile speech, if you will. And she has also, talked about one incident in her life, and I'm going to show that speech to you. Okay. All right. 1 second here.
And welcome to the stage, Emily Yarrison. Martha Cooney.
In some legends, the hero likes to kind of sit back, not take credit, remain in the shadows. In college, that was me. I grew up in Northeast Philly, which has very specific working class kind of culture. But I got a scholarship to go to the University of Pennsylvania, which has a very Ivy League culture, which is very different. We literally did not understand each other. The Penn kids were using words that I didn't understand, like consulting. I was using words that they didn't understand, like water. The uniform was different. Where I grew up, it's very simple. We dress according to season. In the fall, it's the Eagle shirt. In the spring, it's a Philly shirt. And you save your best jersey for church on Sunday. Add gray sweatpants, fake gold nameplate necklace, you're good. But at Penn, it was different. First of all, nobody's jewelry was fake. Everybody was wearing these shirts that said Patagonia. I didn't understand. I was like, is that a country? Is everyone going there on vacation? Is it like a souvenir shirt? There were so many pants with small animals printed on them. And guys would carry these long wooden handled umbrellas walking across campus, swinging them jauntily like Mr. Peanut. I was like, who carries an umbrella? Just put your hoodie up. The menu was different. I kept being confronted with these foods that I didn't know how to eat, like edamame beans. I've eaten the shells, like, fibrous, Someone's like, there's a bowl, they go in the bowl. For the first time in my life, I was told that pasta is not healthy. And in the dining hall, there were girls who were not going up for seconds. I was like, no, it's all you can eat, I lived in a high-rise apartment building dorm, and there were a lot of conveniences of things that I hadn't grown up with, like a microwave. It wasn't like I'd never seen a microwave, but I didn't have a lot of experience with using one because we had never had one. So I was really excited to experiment with microwavable foods. One night, late, probably one of the last nights before finals, middle of winter, I pull out a bag of frozen super pretzel, soft pretzels, really excited to make a microwaved pretzel for the first time in my life. So I glanced down at the bag, 3 minutes, put the pretzel in, just enough time to listen all the way through to Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You. Big hit at the time. So just as Mariah is getting to the last you, I noticed a burning smell. And the microwave beeps, I open it up, smoke pours out, the apartment is filled with smoke, it's black, it's hazy, I can't breathe, I can barely see, but just through the haze, in the microwave is a charred, blackened lump of pretzel that should have been in for 3 minutes, for 30 seconds, not 3 minutes. And this is a piece of cultural information that I would have had if I'd grown up with a microwave, but instead that part of my brain was probably taken up with the 67 SEPTA bus schedule. Smoke is filling up the apartment, so I go over to the window, but we live on the 7th floor, and I have this fear of being near open windows in high places in case I lose my senses and decide to jump out. So I can't open the window. I go back to the microwave, but there's smoke everywhere. Over to the window. I have to open it. I can't. I have to open it. I can't. There's a knock at the door. My neighbor John needs to borrow milk for his cereal. So I open the door, and there he is, like a polo shirt clad Oliver Twist with his dry bowl of cereal. And he says, "What is going on?" Smoke billowing around me, rushes out into the hallway. The fire alarm is in the hallway. The fire alarm goes off. We live in a 24-story building. It is 1:30 a.m. It is the last night of finals. Everyone is either asleep because the exam that they're taking tomorrow determines whether or not they get into med school, or if you're me, cramming 3 months worth of unattended classes fueled only by Mountain Dew Code Red. But RAs are knocking on doors, people are being evacuated, everyone's being sent out, and the elevators are not working because the alarm went off. And I'm a little worried because if there's one thing I've learned about Penn kids by now, they do not love to be inconvenienced. So I run down 7 flights to the lobby. I get to the front desk, I'm like, "It was me, I set off the alarm, just turn it off, it's fine. But they just point, and the firemen are coming in the front door. And I look the other way, and swarms of students are coming out from the stairwells, going outside to form a mob of 1,200 angry students in pajamas and underwear in the dead of winter, ready to kill the idiot who set off the fire alarm. So I try and blend in for just about 5 seconds, but my eyes are darting and my body's quivering, and I know they're going to find me. I don't know if there's a witness protection program in the Ivy League. So I go the only place there is to go. And that means that John, with his dry bowl of cereal, has to lead the firemen to the microwave pretzel because I am hiding in the stairwell, burying my face in my gray sweatpants because I'm afraid of being up in high places and I don't know how to use a microwave, and I still don't know where and what Patagonia is. The microwave pretzel incident of 2002 became a bit of a legend in our class, so much so that it still would come up in conversation years later, even though most people didn't know that I was to blame. But now, if I run into an old classmate and we're reminiscing and that story comes up, I will say, "Yo, that was me." Because you know what? If being different made me a legend, hey, I'll take it. Thank you.
All right, so you did hear the speech, and this was Martha Clooney's speech. So a few things that I want to talk about, all right? So I just gave you kind of, I talked to you about, how to write a first draft, second draft, third draft. And this is a good example of a, profile speech. And this is what I'm going to tell you, that, this is storytelling, and she, if you think about her ethos, she is not, she's not a very well-known person. I mean, she hasn't organized a movement. She participates in these, speech competitions, and, and she actually won this one. So she's a Grand Slam winner. So what, if you think about her speech and you think about what the story that I will, and the theme is perhaps the fact that, if you think about the whole theme of silence, all right, she chose not to be silent, right? And this is a nice, it was a, and the whole theme emerged at the end of her speech. The fact that she talked about a time when she felt that she should be silent because she didn't want to embarrass herself, right? And she didn't want to, be the odd one out. She definitely, there was this huge cultural clash that she was talking about. She was this girl from northwestern Philadelphia, grew up in a very different culture, and she went to this college with these very snooty Philly, University of Pennsylvania kids who had a very different culture than she had, and she talks about that, and there's a definitely clash of cultures, and she kind of makes fun about the whole thing, and then she talks about this one incident that she felt very ashamed at that point, and she didn't want to. She just want the whole the ground to kind of swallow her, but later on you could see that in her conclusion there's a whole different perspective that she talks about. Is that at that point maybe I wouldn't want to tell anyone that I did this, but now if somebody says, I said, you know what, I was the girl who was responsible for the fire alarm ringing. So you can see that she breaks her silence. So this is a coming of age, kind of a coming of, she gets into her own. All right. So this is a great example of, the theme of silence, if you think about that. And the kind of, and I just mentioned to you the metaphors that she's used. I think, some of the speeches that really makes an impact are the clever use of words and packed with meaning. If you think about Patagonia, what she just mentioned is, I actually, I was so interested after hearing his speech. I said, what the heck is this Patagonia? And then I looked at it and it doesn't really mean anything. And for me, Patagonia is a metaphor that stands for elitism. It stands for, it's like a cultural divide. It belongs to, one of those branded things that kind of shows, your class in society. And she's basically using that one word, that one metaphor to create that sense of, very elitist culture. So you think about all the words that she's using, and talking about a roommate dressed up as Oliver Twist holding a bowl, then talking about the whole microwave story, the whole billowing of the the smoke, then all these students running down the stairs, and the day before their finals, this whole story is so alive. It is, there's so many images. It's so dramatic. The word choice, even her vocal modulation, all of that kind of builds drama. And I'm just mentioning a few things. I'm sure you can add maybe 10 more, to what I'm saying. And the introduction doesn't really begin with, it's as I told you, the introduction doesn't begin with, I'm going to tell you a story about my silence. No, she doesn't begin with that. She talks about, the fact that she belongs to a different culture, and, she belongs to a culture where people talk about water. And then she talks about the pen culture where they talk about, companies or something like that, right? She says, she just talks about that and gets us into the mood. And like, okay, she's, she just creates enough interest to kind of give us a peek into the topic, where we did through the introduction, we know that she's talking about a culture shock, something like that. And we get, culture is something that always interests us, and most people are interested by different, the drama that happens through a culture shock. This interesting, funny, kind of makes us curious. So she chooses a topic like this. So if you think about her whole speech, I think her speech was about 6.5 minutes long. And let me just see, give me a second. I think I'll be able to see how long was her speech. Yeah, right. So yeah, her speech was actually 5 minutes 40 seconds long. So you can see that it's about the same amount of time that you have. So and I think the number of words in her speech was at least 800 to 900 words. And she was fast, and at times she was slow. I think she maintained a good pace. As I mentioned to you, at least need 500 words for your speech. And I think the maximum that you can have is maybe 900 to 1,000 words. So this is what you need to work on. So you have a big one coming up your way. You don't need to respond to this, but you can, I just kind of talk to you about, give you an example of a profile speech. And a few things you need to ask yourself, why, what was different about her introduction? She really didn't tell us all this, what did she say? Just about enough to kind of whet our curiosity. What was interesting about her conclusion? She really doesn't give us a summary in the conclusion that we traditionally we expect a summary, right? In a 5-minute speech, there's no point of doing that. She talks about a different perspective that she gains that was not there in the first in the introduction, that was not there in the body. All of a sudden, a new perspective, a new insight that she gains. So that was her conclusion. What made it appealing? What made the metaphors that she chose appealing? The way she built up drama, that was so appealing. So you may want to answer these questions. That kind of will give you some more texture when you are trying to write an introduction, when you're trying to think about an introduction, when you're thinking about a conclusion, thinking about your body. So I think this is a good starting point for you. I'm not sure how long I made this video. I didn't want to make this too long. So I want you to remember this. I will be, I actually will be putting this up on GoReacts actually while I'm doing it. Can I do it? So am I not actually? Yeah. So here I am. I'm going to screen share this with you, and I will go back to our class. I'll create an assignment here, class, and I will say, I need to hear your profile speech. As you know, you don't have too much time. So today I'm giving this to you, and I would like to get your response. So I'll just say practice profile speech. Okay. Let's make it Thursday night, right? Okay. So that'll give you a little bit more time. So I need to see this by, I initially thought Wednesday, but let me just make it, because that just makes it 2 days. So let's just make it Thursday night. I would, and I made it private, so it'll just come to me and you'll be able to see it and it'll just come to me. So Thursday night, sorry, actually, you know what? Sorry about this. Its due date is Thursday night, which is October 28th by 11:59 p.m. class. Yeah, so, sorry. Yeah, so get me the draft of your speech. When I say draft, I just want you to, do the best that you can with the speech. I would like you to, first think about a theme for your speech. Either it is silence or disguise or resilience. All right, choose a theme, start writing your speech. It needs to be at least 500 words and the maximum is 900 words. So write a story. As I mentioned to you, you need to have an introduction, you need to have a body, and you have to have a conclusion. Introduction should, of course, as I gave you the guidelines, should always don't start talking about your speech, but give enough for the audience to get interested in your topic. And then then the story begins in your body. And then in the conclusion, should always have an insight that you gained, okay? And needs to have some memorable phrases. So what I would do is first draft, just write it as thoughts are coming to you. Then in the second draft, I would be probably looking for the purpose, all right? I would be seeing if it is disguise. Has disguise been seen in your speech? And then make changes accordingly. And in the third draft, I'm looking for how beautifully you've arranged your, whether they're words, word choice, language, metaphors, uh, rhetorical questions, some hypothetical situations, phrases, all of that has been worked out beautifully or not. Okay, that's my third draft. So I would like you to do that, and then present and go react. And as I mentioned to you, it should be practice profile speech. And this is on the 28th, which is Thursday. You still get about two days. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and then almost 3 days, you get that. By 11:59, submit it so that I can look at it as soon as possible and give you my feedback. Once you get my feedback, I would like you to work on that feedback, all right? And make changes accordingly, and then be ready to submit the final draft by Sunday, all right? By 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. So I call this your practice profile speech. So create assignment, and then your final profile speech. Final profile speech will be due on the 31st by 11:59 p.m. All right. So as I mentioned, it's going to be Halloween. So if you want to submit it a day earlier, fine. Once I get all your submissions in by your practice profile speech submissions in by Thursday night, I try my best to give you as fast personal feedback to your speeches as soon as possible, so that you can work on the feedback, it won't be major, but you can make some changes and then submit your final draft, okay? So here I do create assignment. So this is what you need to be focusing, okay, this week. With that, I will stop sharing this, and with this, I'll take my leave. It's about 11:22 right now. And if you have any questions, can you please reach out to me? I'll be very happy if you reach out to me, all right? My telephone number is 412-760-8348. Please do reach out to me. And the work that I need to do is as I mentioned, I've already reviewed all your first introductions, student introductions, and your speech analysis for George W. Bush speech. I will be giving you my personal feedback, and I'll be giving you a grade, and then I'll give you a summary of comments. Okay, so that video should be published tomorrow. Okay, so be well, and I will see you actually on Thursday then, right? Thursday night, because that's when you're submitting your first practice profile speech drafts to me on Go React. You're going to video record it. You're going to be standing 6 feet away from the camera. Please, all of you, some of you obviously do not know that. So you need to stand at least 6 feet away from the camera. Maybe have some note cards, maybe 5 note cards, 1 per point. Okay, have some words for you to remember. Have great eye contact with the audience. Tell your story. Okay, and the best that you do in your practice profile speech, I think if you have the best, you did your best and you submitted that, I think my comments will be the most valuable for you then. So try to do your best. Again, when you're recording yourself, when you're doing your practice profile speech, stand at least 6 feet away from the camera. You should be looking at the camera directly. The camera should be, make sure I don't see an aerial profile and or you're not looking down or you're not looking up. Okay, so it should be looking at it directly straight. In a standing position, I should be able to see your half bust. I should be able to see your hand movement. Have note cards with you, not your cell phone. Don't read from your cell phone. Have some note cards or flashcards something that looks like this, have maybe 5 of them. I'm sorry here. Have note cards. If I have five of them, have maybe 5 points in each note card, and then you should be very well prepared. Your eye contact should be constantly with the audience, and maybe if you do need to look, then look at it. Look at your note cards for maybe a few seconds, and then continue if you do need to look. All right. So a lot of work coming up for you, and it's going to be exciting. You're going to learn a new different speech, and you're going to be sharing your a part of your lives with us. All right. So thank you very much. Good night. I will post this, and I'll send out another video with my, as I mentioned to you, with my feedback for your first assignments